All right, welcome back. We're going to be going over a few updates here. I said before that my girlfriend would begin working from home and that I wouldn't have as much time to get things done. That's still true. However, her work is having her come in 1 day per week. Apparently, law firms consider themselves an essential business, so she's still going in 1 day per week when everyone else on her floor is gone. And I'm using that day to record like a madman. I'm just sitting down and recording the entire day. I just save all the editing and everything else for other days and cram all the recording in on 1 day. That's how it is right now. That may change. We don't know. Our city has cases, but it's nowhere near the levels of some other cities. But every day there's more cases, so anything's liable to change. My girlfriend's mother also just passed away 2 days ago. It had nothing to do with what's going on right now. It was from natural causes. She was 89 years old. But it is also something that we're dealing with right now as well. Now, in the last Thoth Life video that I did for Patreon and Subscribestar, I did a tarot reading on Corona, and it was general, and I ended up getting a general card for the outcome, which was the world, which really could have went either way. Yes, it has covered the world, but the world card is also Saturn and can mark the ending of something. So, wanting to be a little bit more specific, I did another reading recently and had asked how long it would be before we started seeing some relief from this, before we saw some light at the end of the tunnel or flattening of the curve, so to speak. So I did another reading, and the outcome was the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess corresponds with the moon. And what's the unit of time that's based on the moon? A month. A month is based upon a lunar cycle. Moon month. And just looking at things astrologically, I would suspect that things would start getting better around May 5th, as transit Mercury comes directly conjunct the Sun. Both are very strong planets that correspond with healing, and with them being side by side at that time, I think we're going to start seeing some relief. And this being recorded at the beginning of April puts it at about a month away. So it aligns with the tarot reading. Now, I don't expect it to be completely eradicated or cured at that time. What I expect is noticeable improvements. The flattening of the curve that they're always talking about. The number of recovered cases are going to outpace the number of new cases. Or there's a proven effective treatment that everybody is on board with, such as the hydroxychloroquine, that they've been talking about, yet some places and doctors aren't comfortable prescribing it for that treatment just yet. But maybe it'll be proven that that is the best way to go. I believe that something is going to shift around that time to where we do see the light at the end of the tunnel. And remember, it's always darkest before the dawn. And sometimes things get worse before they get better. So even though this reading is good news, we're not out of it yet. Now, one of the things that drives me absolutely crazy is just the amount of misinformation there is out there. People say, oh, you don't have to be that concerned about it because it's like the flu. It's not like the flu. Watch any interview with somebody that's been hospitalized with it, and they'll tell you it's not like the flu. Maybe in structure, as they're both classified as corona illnesses, I don't want to say the V word, YouTube doesn't have an appeal to its own algorithm at this time. So they may be similar in structure, but not effects. I've had double pneumonia before. It's not like the flu, trust me. It's also not just your lungs that you need to be concerned with. It can attack and shut down other vital organs. That is listed as one of the complications of the disease. It's just that shortness of breath and pneumonia are some of the more common symptoms because that's how it gets in the body. You breathe it into the lungs. So that's where it begins its attack. You know, if it gets in through your mouth and you ingest it, you're more likely to have intestinal and digestive problems. And then it can just spread from there. But to me, the biggest concern is that it just seems really random as to who is made really sick and who isn't. Most people that are keeling over are older, but there are also people in their 30s and 40s who are getting knocked off also. I saw a story on one guy who had asthma, pre-existing condition, and had absolutely no symptoms, where another guy who was healthy and fit was fighting for his life. It all seems to just be a roll of the dice. The point is, you don't want to risk catching this thing, if you can help it. You know, I won't even go to the grocery store without my mask on. I don't care how it looks. I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I'm genuinely surprised that more people aren't wearing masks out, or staying home for that matter. At least here, when driving to the grocery store, I see more people out walking along the sidewalk when they're supposed to stay home than I've ever seen in my life. None of them wearing masks, by the way. I hope they have a favorable wind. Because look, this whole misinformation that if you stand 6 feet apart from each other, you're not going to catch it is just baloney. Did they account for the speed and direction of the wind? What if the guy driving in front of you has it and has his window down and sneezes and coughs out the window, and then you're driving behind him with your window down and just suck it right up? My girlfriend just says that's just me being OCD. It's my inner Howie Mandel speaking, which, by the way, imagine how he feels right now, because everyone else should be feeling like he does on a good day. But I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing a lot of people wearing masks out. I do. Although lately there have been a few more, but it's not nearly to the level that it needs to be. The point is, if you want to avoid getting an airborne illness, you don't want to share the air with anyone who's sick. The whole if you stand 6 feet apart from somebody, you're not going to catch anything is just nonsense. People should take social distancing a little bit more seriously than that. But I do understand that they're trying to balance telling you enough to keep you apart, yet prevent everyone from freaking out. Have you seen the barriers that they put up in the supermarket checkout lane? Like the plastic dividers between you and the cashier? It's there to make you feel better. And I guess it's good at preventing someone from coughing or sneezing directly in your face. But it's not airtight. It's not like air can't go above or around it. I do appreciate the effort, however. I got stuck in a checkout lane before the dividers went up, where the one cashier was talking to the other cashier, with me and my girlfriend in the middle. That was uncomfortable. I'm like, you need to converse with each other after we leave. I just assume every cashier has it, because they just see endless lines of people all day, and everyone in the store has got to go through them. They're also going to touch every single one of your items as they scan them in. So self-checkout is looking more appealing every day. Just make sure you hand sanitize or wash after using those keypads. Now, I've been to 3 different supermarkets because that's almost what it takes now to try to find everything that you need, at least when the shelves have been clearing out. And you may have different markets in your area. Not everybody has the same chains. Here we have Schnucks, Dierbergs, and Walmart. Now, Walmart employees weren't wearing any masks. When I was there, they had a lot of people stocking, and I saw one young male employee who was stocking shelves coughing into his elbow, and I got the hell away from him pretty quickly. Again, the checkers weren't wearing any masks or anything. However, they were spraying down the conveyor belt, which I did appreciate, because let's face it, those conveyor belts are probably the germiest things in the store. Everybody's items are going on them, which means everybody has touched that conveyor belt. So to see them sanitizing it, especially right before I got there, was definitely a plus. Schnucks employees weren't wearing any masks, but they did put up checking line barriers, although in my opinion they're kind of small, and certainly not tall enough for somebody as tall as I am. I was just kind of peeking right over it and told them I think you need a taller barrier. I was told they were spraying down the conveyor belt line, but that it was about once an hour. The market that I have to give the highest marks to is Dierbergs. Every employee that I saw was wearing a bandana mask, which granted is not as effective as an N95 mask, but those are hard to come by right now. And the medical field needs all the masks they can get. So wearing a bandana is not as good as that, but it's something, at the very least. At least they're not shooting their breath out into the store. It's just as much for our protection as it is for theirs. They also had the best checkout line barriers, taller than I am and the length of the entire checkout line. I did not see anybody sanitizing the conveyor lines when I was there, but they still get my highest marks simply for the fact that the employees there are covering their nose and mouth. You shouldn't rely on anyone sanitizing the conveyor belt for you anyway. You're still going to need to wash and sanitize your own hands. But out of our grocery chains, that's where I'm going to go to get as many items as I can there first before making a stop at any others. While not foolproof, they seem to be taking it the most seriously and taking the most steps to prevent the spread. And I hope this has given you some ideas. If you don't have any N95 masks, get a bandana and wear that out. If not for yourself, then do it for others. Because you could be a carrier and be asymptomatic and not know it. The sooner everybody starts taking steps like this, the sooner we can get through this. Most of it being spread right now is from people who are asymptomatic, who are not wearing anything protective while they're out because they're not having any symptoms. I wear my mask out in public, not just for my own safety, but for everyone else's. We all just need to assume that everyone has it, including ourselves. And if we take that approach, this thing will be much easier to get over. And that will about do it for today. I just wanted to give you all an update, share the reading with you, and give you my perspective on this entire thing, and how best for us to put it all behind us. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. Please leave a like and share it if you did. You can follow me at Twitter at Frater Xavier. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/mindandmagick. Consider joining us over at Patreon and Subscribestar. Links in the description. I want to thank you all for joining me. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you next time. Take care.